Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, and don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all in 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? My name is Bob, and welcome to yet another mini-cast in which we, the Straight Chilling crew, will be bringing you a bite-sized version of the show you know and love. Today it's just going to be me talking to you about a little movie that was just released this week called Gags the Clown. This little joker right here was directed by Adam Krause, which was his debut feature. He directed a couple shorts prior to this, one of them just being called Gags, which was definitely where the idea for this feature length came from. So what he did was he created a bunch of photographs of this creepy clown around his city and threw them up on the internet, and he took some video footage of this clown and did the same thing, and people saw it, and it kind of went viral for a minute. People thought it was real, so he kind of used the steam from all of that to make this feature-length movie here. So I kind of think that's a baller way to go about making a movie. It's also, this one is starring Lauren Ashley Carter. You might recognize her from Imitation Girl or Jugface or Pod or Darling or maybe even Darlin', which are 2 different movies. Darlin' came out earlier this year, which was a sequel to The Woman. I haven't seen it though. Darling is a Mickey Keating movie, which is actually pretty good. I think it's on Netflix if you're looking for something pretty psychological. It's also in black and white. I recommend it. The plot synopsis is as follows. An unidentified man in Green Bay, Wisconsin has captured worldwide attention for roaming the streets dressed as a clown. Many write it off as a harmless prank. Others aren't so sure. When a group of friends cross paths with the clown everyone calls Gags, his true intentions are revealed. So I'm going to kind of start this off like I tend to with a spoiler-free review. Since this movie just came out, I kind of want to keep it that way off the top and give everybody a chance to watch it. So yeah, this movie is it's produced by Bloody Disgusting, and those guys also put out the VHS movies. So if you've seen any of those, this very much has that same feel to it. It's not an anthology movie like the VHS movies are, but it is sort of chopped up amongst 4 different groups, 4 different perspectives on the same night, are kind of woven in and out of one another. And they do that pretty seamlessly, and I think it's to the benefit of the movie. You don't get too tired of any one character because you don't spend too much time with any one character. You're kind of constantly moving throughout this one night as everybody sort of navigates what the hell's going on in this town and what this clown is up to. But yeah, it's sort of split up between some prankster-ass teenagers. There's a news crew that you follow around. There's a police squad, and there's also this kind of rogue right-wing podcaster that kind of flies off the handle, which was pretty entertaining. It also it does what I think a good found footage movie tends to do, and it doesn't linger too much on the monster. Sort of all Blair Witch Project. You get flashes of things, but most of it's kind of left up to your imagination. I think that's for the benefit of the movie. It's I don't know. I think if you in general really like found footage movies, you're gonna dig this. Usually when I go in to watch a found footage movie, it's kind of starting in the negative already. I'm not a big fan of found footage, I guess. I don't hate them, but I just feel like it's kind of played out. There's only so much you can really do with it. And after you've seen, Cloverfield and the Blair Witch Project and, Paranormal Activity, you're kind of like, okay, I get it. I get what's happening with the found footage movies. But this one actually did manage to captivate me pretty much for the entire movie. It's a tight movie. It's only like 90 minutes. So yeah, you get flashes of this clown, and they sort of build a vague mythology around what he is and what he's doing. It leaves you with a lot of questions, though, which also I think is to the benefit of the movie. And I got to say, it's a bold move, man, to put this out on the same weekend that It Chapter 2 comes out. I guess Bloody Disgusting is banking on those people who are not wanting to leave their home. Here's an alternative clown movie that you can watch if you don't want to leave the comfort of your living room. Check out Gags the Clown. But honestly, yeah, I think if you're planning on watching It Chapter 2 this weekend, and if you're listening to the show, there's probably a pretty decent chance you are. I think this would be a pretty great double feature, like maybe like a something you can throw on to decompress after you watch It Chapter 2, because I haven't seen It Chapter 2 yet, but the runtime is like 3 hours long, which is a lot to sit there in the movie theater. But you come home after watching that monstrous movie and then throw this on, and this would be pretty easy to swallow after that. But yeah, I definitely recommend you check it out. I was a fan of this, even though, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the found footage movies, but I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. And check it out. Slam your eyeballs into it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and drop the spoiler warning and get into the rest of this movie.
Spoiler warning.
You've been warned. So there's not a ton really to spoil as far as this movie goes, because like I said, they keep the mythology pretty vague around the clown. At one point, you're following the news crew, which Lauren Ashley Carter is a part of. Her and her cameraman are like one crew that you follow throughout this movie, and they're interviewing this guy who has like an antique shop, and he's showing him this old photograph from like 1975 of this clown, and it's very obviously like the same clown. It is Gags the Clown, and it's from this carnival that burned down, and you kind of are led to believe that maybe a clown died in that fire and has come back as some sort of like ghost demon thing, and it's like taking vengeance out on the town. But so like, it's definitely not a real person, because this thing just like shows up and vanishes constantly throughout the movie. It gets shot at. It never like trips, falls, bleeds. It never makes a sound. It's just silent and creepy and looming, and it's always there. And also it kind of when you approach it with like a video camera, the camera kind of starts to glitch out a little bit, which again kind of helps obscure exactly what the clown looks like. I mean, you get a pretty decent shot at it, but it does obscure some of the spookier things that are going on in the movie. But yeah, he's got these black balloons, which I think are a pretty nice touch, and they'll just be kind of randomly floating around the city. And if you grab hold of one, they just have a tendency to pop over the top of your head, and this like white powder falls all over your body. So you've got this clown that's definitely like a ghost demon thing. It's not a real person by any means, but it's also got this like real physical powder that is falling all over your body in real life, and you're having this horrific reaction to it. You just start puking up blood. You just get like violently ill. And then at a certain point, you just kind of go crazy, and you start to self-mutilate your face, and you basically carve your face to look like a clown. And it's pretty horrific. And he's almost like recruiting people of the town to build like a demented clown army to, I don't know, maybe like go kill a bunch of people. That never happens, but he's definitely like recruiting people to form an army to do something. I don't know. It's definitely vague. And you kind of find his lair, which is like in the basement of some sort of like giant abandoned warehouse, like textile shop or whatever. And it's got this, it's this big, like golden glowing circus tent, and all these like demented clowns that he's sort of recruited throughout the runtime of the movie are all in there, and that's kind of where the climax goes down. And so like the way these different groups of people that you're following weave in and out of one another, it's very seamless. I think they did a really great job with it. You're following these teens who are sort of trying to cash in on this clown terrorizing their town. So one of them dresses up like a clown, and he's going around just scaring people downtown, and his friends are filming him do that. And the film crew is just basically interviewing people in the town, trying to get their take on the clown, if they'd seen it, what they think the deal is. You're following two police officers, like I mentioned, and they're wearing the body cam, so that's kind of where you get their found footage stuff from. And they're just trying to find this clown, and they're responding to people calling, saying that they've seen the clown, whether it was an imposter or whether it was the real Gags the Clown. They're just like responding to calls, basically. And the last kind of person that you're following is this super right-wing podcaster. And he starts his part of the movie by just like ranting into the camera, and he's doing a live podcast, and people are like watching him in real time and responding. And he posts a video, and he's like, you know what? If you want me to take matters into my own hands, go out there and hunt this clown myself, I will. All you got to do is share this video 500 times. If we get 500 shares, I'll go out there tonight and I'll handle this my damn self. And he gets a whole bunch of shares, and he's like, all right, the people have spoken. And he's supposedly this retired Marine, and you come to find out that he's definitely embellished on all the stuff that he had done in the military, and he ends up shooting the kid that's dressed up like the clown towards the end of the movie, thinking that it's Gags, and he sort of like has a mental break because he drops his weapon. He's like, oh my god, that's actually the first person I ever shot. I can't believe I just did that. But his like he's probably the most interesting character in the whole movie to me, because it's sort of like he's the most amped character, and I guess maybe the most unrealistic, but also he doesn't seem like that unrealistic. I feel like as a society, we're not that far away from having some like talking head on the internet just snap and go rogue and try and murder some public nuisance that technically isn't breaking the law, but he just doesn't like that person, like it just rings a little too true in a way. I don't know. But overall, this movie is like very enjoyable. It does have, I guess the most spoilery thing happens at the very last shot of the movie. Lauren Ashley Carter's character, the news reporter, she finds the tent. She's in there. She kind of gets freaked out. She runs out of the building, and Gags just appears right in front of her. And Gags is holding a balloon that is shaped like her. It looks exactly like her, but it's just a balloon. And he gives it to her, and then he just vanishes. And then she's looking up at the balloon, and she just starts laughing hysterically. And then she just fucking explodes. Her whole body just it explodes, and that's the end of the movie. Roll credits. So it definitely ends with an exclamation point there. But overall, yeah, totally enjoyed this movie. It doesn't reinvent anything. It's not going to like totally blow your mind, but for what it is, it knows what it is. It does what it's trying to do very successfully. It's well done, man. I really recommend you check it out. Like I said, I give it a 3 out of 5. This did not have a rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but on IMDb, it had a 7 out of 10. As far as the cooter goes in this movie, I don't know that there's like an outright cooter. One of the teenagers is kind of a shitty kid. He's definitely like manipulating his friend to dress up like this clown. He doesn't really care about his friends, and he makes that very clear. So he's definitely like manipulative and self-important. There's not much going on as far as sexual deviancy or like attire or anything like that. Like that. So I think his name is Dale, if I remember correctly, but he's like a cooter light. He'd definitely pretty much be the only one, I think. But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys on Gags the Clown. Go ahead and use this to whet your appetite for It Chapter 2, or use it as a bit of a decompressor after you watch It Chapter 2. But definitely worth checking out, and I think it'd make a dope double feature. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back a little later on this week with our full review of It Chapter 2. And as always, until next time, everybody please keep chilling.